Hi, we're going to do a quick data versus picture format YouTube now. We're going to talk about the different file formats you can save in and the different ways in which they get opened and some of the subtleties along those lines. So let's just drag in an LSM file here. We've got some healer cells and we'll just make it look pretty. It's auto-filed on the bio format, so the first one on the Z. So let's go to our brighter level we want here. Bring up our Control-Shift-C for our brightness and contrast. We'll Control-Shift-Z for our channels tool, and we'll change it into a composite. It's saturated at the moment a little bit, it's auto-scaled, and the data is a little saturated. Just to remind you, the Control-Shift-C brightness contrast is in the Adjust menu, and the Color menu contains everything to do with channels, and there's Control-Shift-Z there. So let's go to the Z we want, and we'll hit Auto on that channel, and move to the next channel and do Auto. Just to show you a quick thing I use a lot is to use the mouse wheel and then roll to the next channel, Control Shift and C for the shortcut, and then you'll see a little dotted line here, and that is the control of that window. I can hit space to get that to activate, then mouse wheel, Control Shift and C, and then space again. It'll auto scale those as it goes. You'll notice that this didn't change on the last move, and sometimes it doesn't update and you need to click on the window and click back on it to get it to update, so that's something to watch out for. Catches me out a lot. So now we have a nice picture we want to go ahead and save for presentation or publication, and a lot of times people will go straight to just save as TIFF, and there are different types of TIFF. There are data TIFFs and picture TIFFs. Unlike a lot of other file types which are either data or picture, a TIFF is multi-purpose, and you can have some different ways of saving and viewing those TIFFs. So I'm just going to duplicate this image just to give us something to play with. So I'll use Control Shift and D, duplicate here. And this is a good thing for picking out sections of the data you want. I'm going to duplicate the whole thing here. What you can do is pick the channels you want or pick the slices you want when you do that. So let's just duplicate the whole thing. And so now we can go ahead and change it into a picture format. If we save it as is, if we go ahead and save it just as a data format, if we save as a TIFF, and we've got the -1, we'll just call this data TIFF. If I try and open that data TIFF with something like Windows or Photoshop or something like that, the standard viewers, it looks completely dark. When I zoom in and go through these slices, I can start to see some of the data in there, and it's got 21 levels, which is 3 channels, 7 Z. So it's just sliced all the data in together, and it's all black and white. It's just the raw data, and it's auto scaled it to a 16-bit range. The data itself, if I look at the green channel, let's move this slider here and look at this part here, it's a little bit denser, and I look at the number in this main ImageJ window. As I move it around, you can see that I've got some values there which are approaching the maximum. I know there's some in this next level which are maximum, and it goes up to 4095 on the maximum points. I'm having trouble finding them right now, but 4095 is the maximum value for the 12-bit data sets which are commonly used on microscopes. And so Windows and computers will work in factors of 2, so you'll have 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit are the numbers you've heard, and so 12-bit is not something that it's used to dealing with, so it tries to scale it to 16-bit, which is 65,000 being the maximum value, and so this image looks a lot dimmer, and all you need to do is just turn up the contrast. So the viewing of a data format TIFF isn't always straightforward. So let's take this is our data TIFF. I'm going to duplicate it again, maybe, and we'll call this next one. You can change the name as you duplicate, and we'll call this a picture TIFF. Let's go ahead and do that. But what we need to do is change it to a type of RGB color. This is asking me if I want to keep the source. I'm just going to overwrite this one I've just duplicated already. I can keep the source and almost duplicate there. This is asking me if I want to do the slice I'm looking at or all of the slices. And so you can do either. The slice you're looking at is similar to duplicate and just picking the slice you want. And there's multiple options to do the same thing. So just go with all of them. And now we've got a picture TIFF for each level. and this one here is the one we were on. And if I move the mouse pointing around here, if you look at the value up in the window as I move around here, you see I've got 3 different colours, one for the red, green and blue, and that's what it uses to make up the picture. Not to be confused with spectral channels of red, green and blue. These are just the colours that the screen needs to make up the picture, so it's a little bit convoluted in that regard, but this is more for the monitors and displays than it is actual raw data. Although it's made from raw data, but it's difficult to think of it that way because you don't want to go backwards from an RGB to a data format, because you're going to lose a lot and you're going to make some inferences about the wrong data in the wrong channels. And so there's our picture format, and I can save that as a picture TIFF, and just save as TIFF, and it's a picture TIFF here. And then when I try and open that with Windows, open with the standard viewer, you'll get multiple layers. Now it's got 7 layers, and each one is a picture, and you can see it as it was displayed. And I could always just save that one layer that I wanted. If, for example, I just duplicate the one I'm looking at, so if I unclick this and click duplicate, I can get that particular level, and then we can save as the TIFF now and just have the picture 1, and that's it. And if I just hit with my default, which is a Picasso viewer, you can get that image there just as a normal image. Okay, so that seems a little long-winded to me, and especially when you add on a scale bar, I find that PNG is a better way of doing things. Unless of course publications want a TIFF, you can always turn PNGs into TIFF later, but it's a lossless format, the same as a picture TIFF. So let's just put these aside. We've got data TIFF and a picture TIFF, and the raw data there. So let's just say we want to save from here. I want to save this particular level here. If I go to File, Save as PNG, save that way, I just get the same as the result. I just get the view that I see. The PNG will just save whatever's in the window, whatever it's showing me on the screen, it will save exactly the same. So it's the same as going through those steps with the TIFF, but it's the same thing, it's lossless. It's an 8-bit 3-channel picture format, and then it's a lot quicker. And so also the PNG will help with the scale bars as well. So let's say I take my picture TIFF and go to Tools, Scale Bar, and we'll throw that something on quickly. We'll make it 10 and 10, and we'll hide the text, something like that. Okay, so now if I want to go ahead and save just that one, let's just extract the level I want with the duplicate. So there's my picture TIFF RGB format with the scale bar on it, and save as TIFF, and this is number 2. I'm just going to put scale bar there. Now when I open it up, the scale bar is not there, which is a pain, and so what we're missing here is the scale bar goes on to the overlay. So the image has a selection and it has an overlay. In the selection menu, you've got all these things that you can see that you can select, and there when you draw a region of interest or things like that, that's the selection level, and the options live there. And the image itself also has an overlay, and this is where the scale bar has been placed. So what you can do is you can use flatten to then flatten that image down, and then save it, and it should have the scale bar in it, scale bar -1. When I save it now, it comes with the scale bar. Okay, so all these steps are a pain. Again, with the PNG, I personally just like. So one thing to note here is change the file name to .png, but the data itself hasn't changed. It's 16-bit, it's 3-channel, and it's 7Z. So it's still actually the original data set. It's changed the file name when I've saved it. So watch out for that too. Don't let that mislead you. It's not PNG. Only the file that I saved was a PNG. And I can bring that into the Fiji, and this is the PNG, and it automatically extended the file name to -1 because we had one open with the same name. So watch out for the file names on the top on that regard. But regarding the scale bar, let's throw that scale bar in again, and hit OK. And so now I just go File, Save As, PNG, and this one's with the scale bar. And so now when I open that, it comes with the scale bar. So the quickest way to get a lossless image you want is to adjust it, make it look exactly as you want, and then save it as a PNG. If you need a TIFF, you can always later date open up the one you want and then just save as TIFF. And it's going to take that RGB file format and just save it as a TIFF file format. Essentially, it doesn't lose anything, it just reformats it in a different way to be opened as a TIFF. That's one way if you want to turn it back into a TIFF at the end later on. And so I would do everything in PNGs and then TIFF at the last point. PNGs work out to be a smaller file type as well, so that's useful.